welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're plunging into the world of AI in education. It's everywhere now, isn't it?
It really is. Seems like you can't avoid the conversation.
Exactly. And you, our listener, have shared just a fantastic range of sources. We've got stuff from Park University, Enrollify, eCampus News, Aristech Systems, Hurix Digital, Teach Better AI.
Fresh Consulting, AutoGPT, Virtual IT Solutions, too. It's a good mix.
Yeah, a real mix, different angles,
Yeah.
from the nuts and bolts of AI tutors to like real-world use cases and where things might be headed.
Ethical considerations in there, too, which is crucial.
Absolutely. So our mission today is pretty clear. Let's pull out the key stuff from all this. What's AI really doing in learning? What are the upsides, the challenges, the ethics, like you said,
And the future, yeah. Try to make sense of it all.
without it sounding like, a technical manual. Let's just talk it through.
Sounds good.
Okay, so maybe starting at the foundation. A few sources mention intelligent tutoring systems, ITS. What are we actually talking about there?
Right, okay, so an ITS, basically. Think of it as an AI system built to be a kind of personal tutor for each student. That's the core idea. Park University lays it out pretty well.
Okay.
They talk about four main components. First, the domain model. That's essentially the knowledge base, right? What this system needs to teach.
The subject matter.
Exactly. Then you've got the student model. This is key. It keeps track of what the individual learner knows, where they're struggling, maybe even their learning style.
It builds a profile.
Sort of, yeah. And then the tutoring model uses all that info, the subject matter, the student's profile, to decide, okay, what's the best way to teach this student this concept right now?
Makes sense. And the last part.
Oh, right, the user interface model. That's just how the student actually interacts with the whole thing. The screen, the buttons, the input methods.
So it's not just like a textbook on a screen. It's actively figuring the student out. How does that lead to that personalized learning everyone talks about?
Well, precisely because it's constantly analyzing, It looks at the students' answers, how fast they're going, maybe patterns in their errors.
Okay.
And based on that, Park University says it can adjust things on the fly, make the next question harder or easier, offer really specific feedback if they get something wrong.
So not just incorrect, but why it's incorrect.
Exactly. Or suggest, hey, maybe review this concept, or point them to a specific resource that might help them specifically. It's trying to find that sweet spot for learning.
That sounds pretty powerful. And we actually have a real-world example here from Fresh Consulting. They mentioned Mackenzie Price's work, Alpha, 2-hour learning.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're claiming students using their AI learn twice as fast in just 2 hours a day, which is quite a claim.
It's a bold claim, definitely. But they also mentioned the students seem really positive about using the AI. They like learning that way.
That's interesting too, isn't it? It's not just faster, but maybe more engaging.
It could be. If students feel it's genuinely helping them and it's, maybe less pressure than a traditional setting, that enthusiasm is a really positive sign. It suggests it's hitting the mark somehow.
Okay, so we've got the basic idea of these AI tutors. Let's dig into the why then. What are the big advantages our sources point to? What makes AI potentially such a game changer in education?
Well, personalization is definitely front and center. Almost all the sources hit on this park. AutoGPT, Virtual IT Solutions.
Right.
It's about tailoring the whole experience, the pace, the difficulty, the focus. If you're strong in one area, it lets you move on. If you're weak, it gives you more support there. Catering to different learning styles, too.
In Fresh Consulting, it had that kind of wild comparison, like a CAT scan of a child's brain understanding.
Yeah, that's a very ambitious way to put it, but it gets at the depth of personalization AI could potentially achieve, really understanding individual needs.
Okay, so deep personalization. What else? What are other key benefits coming through?
Real-time feedback and support. That comes up a lot. Park University, Hurix Digital, AutoGPT, they all stress how AI can give immediate feedback.
Which is huge, right? Instead of waiting a week for grades.
Exactly. That immediacy helps you fix misunderstandings right away. It keeps you locked in, boosts retention. Plus, AutoGPT mentions the 24/7 availability. Chatbots, virtual assistants, help whenever you need it.
That constant access could make a real difference. What about accessibility? Making learning available to more students.
Yeah, that's a really strong point. Aristech Systems and AutoGPT highlight this. Think about tools like text-to-speech, Microsoft's Immersive Reader is a great example.
Oh yeah, reads text aloud.
Right, or real-time captions for videos, translation tools. These things make a massive difference for students with disabilities or language barriers or different learning needs. Aristech even quotes someone, Vera Cubero, calling AI life-changing for these students.
Wow, life-changing, that's powerful.
It really is. It's about making the learning environment work for everyone, leveling the playing field.
Okay, so big benefits for students.
Yeah.
What about the teachers? Is AI helping them too?
Definitely. Efficiency and teacher support is a recurring theme. Park University, Aristech, Teach Better AI, AutoGPT, they all talk about automating tasks.
Like grading, that takes up so much time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Throwing multiple choice, maybe even initial essay drafts for grammar, taking attendance, even helping draft lesson plans. Teach Better AI actually has a statistic saying their tool cut planning time significantly.
So it frees teachers up.
That's the idea. Frees
Right.
them up for the stuff AI can't do well. Mentoring, one-on-one support, addressing complex individual needs, fostering creativity, the human stuff.
So it's more about augmenting teachers, not replacing them.
That seems to be the dominant view in these sources, yeah. And related to that, AI can give teachers valuable insights from data.
How so?
Well, Park University and AutoGPT explain how AI can analyze all that student performance data, spot patterns, see where the whole class is struggling, or identify individual learning gaps faster, even see if a certain teaching method is working well or not.
So teachers can use that data to adjust their own approach.
Precisely. It enables more informed decisions about instruction. It's a feedback loop for the teacher, too.
Okay, that makes sense. What about just making learning more interesting,
Yeah.
more motivating for students?
Yeah, engagement and motivation definitely get mentioned. Hurix Digital, AutoGPT, Virtue IT Solutions, they talk about making learning more interactive. Gamification is a big one.
Like turning lessons into games.
Sort of, yeah. Using game mechanics, points, levels, leaderboards on adaptive platforms. Hurix actually cites a stat saying, 72% are motivated by gamification? Makes it feel less like a chore, maybe?
You do. Less passive learning.
Right. And looking longer term, Park University and AutoGPT also point out that just using these AI tools helps students build digital literacy, skills they'll absolutely need for the future workforce.
Good point. It's practical skill building too. And one last benefit mentioned, addressing equity gaps on a bigger scale.
Yes, several sources, like Aristech and AutoGPT, touch on AI's potential here. The idea is that AI could help democratize education.
How? By providing high-quality learning tools and personalized feedback even in places that lack resources or highly trained teachers. Remote learning powered by smart AI could reach underserved communities, giving more kids a shot at quality education, regardless of, their zip code.
Okay, that paints a really compelling picture of the potential upsides.
Yeah.
But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? Let's shift to the challenges. What are the hurdles, the ethical things we need to watch out for, according to these sources?
Yeah, absolutely. And the sources are pretty clear on the challenges, too. One very practical one is just cost.
Building this stuff isn't cheap.
No. Park University and AutoGPT both highlight the significant investment needed. Research, development, the tech infrastructure, building really robust, effective IT, it takes serious money up front.
Which could limit who can actually access and implement it. Creates another kind of divide.
It certainly could. Then there's the interaction itself. A big point is the lack of, emotional intelligence, the human touch.
Right. AI can't really do empathy. Exactly. Park University and Teach Better AI discuss this. AI can teach facts, check answers, but it can't provide genuine emotional support, build rapport in the same way, or really develop those crucial soft skills that come from human interaction.
And related to that, is there a risk of relying on it too much?
That's another concern raised, yeah. Park University and Hurix Digital mention the risk of over-reliance, reducing face-to-face time, potentially impacting students' social skills and their ability to connect with teachers and peers.
Finding that balance again seems critical.
It does. And another point Park University makes is about suitability. Is AI tutoring equally good for all subjects?
Good question. Probably not.
Likely not. They suggest it might be more effective for highly structured subjects like math or coding, where there are clear right-wrong answers and defined pathways. It might be harder to apply effectively in, say, humanities or creative arts, which are more about interpretation, nuance, subjectivity.
So it's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution.
Probably not. Then we get into the really thorny ethical issues. Bias in algorithms is a major one.
How does that happen?
Well, in Rawlify, Aristech, Teach Better AI, AutoGPT all warn about this. Bias can creep in if the data used to train the AI is flawed or reflects existing societal biases. Or it could be in the programming itself.
And that leads to unfair outcomes.
Potentially,
Yeah.
yes. And Rolify mentions examples like AI grading systems, perhaps favoring writing styles more common in certain backgrounds, or admissions algorithms disadvantaging certain groups. If the AI isn't fair, it can actually worsen inequities.
That's a serious risk,
Right.
which leads to transparency, right? Needing to know how these AI systems are making decisions.
Absolutely. Transparency and accountability are key. Enrolify and AutoGPT stress this. We need to understand the why behind AI recommendations or assessments to trust them. And if things go wrong, who's accountable? How do we fix it?
These aren't easy questions.
Not at all. And closely linked is data privacy and security, another huge ethical concern.
We're talking about vast amounts of student data here.
Exactly. Enrolify, Aristech, Teach Better AI, AutoGPT, they all emphasize the absolute necessity of protecting this sensitive data. Clear policies on collection, usage, access are crucial. Robust security measures. Aristech specifically mentions needing compliance with regulations like FERPA and CISA.
Getting informed consent, too, presumably.
Yes, that's part of establishing those clear policies. And then there's the digital divide issue again, but from the access perspective.
Right. Not everyone has the tech or the internet connection.
Exactly. Aristech and AutoGPT highlight this. If AI becomes central to education, but large groups of students lack reliable access to the necessary devices or high-speed internet, it could actually widen the gap between the haves and have-nots, exclude people rather than include them.
So lots of potential, but also some really significant challenges and ethical minefields to navigate.
Definitely. It requires very careful thought and planning.
Okay, so given those challenges, what are the strategies for doing this right? How can we implement AI ethically and effectively? And what does the future look like according to these sources?
Well, building on those challenges, ensuring transparency is a key strategy. And Rolify really emphasizes just being clear and open about how these AI systems work. Builds trust.
Makes sense. People need to understand what they're using.
Right. And providing proper training for educators is vital. Both Enrolify and Teach Better AI stress this. Teachers need support to understand the tools, use them effectively, and also understand the ethical implications. They need to feel confident.
So empower the teachers. Don't just hand them tech.
Exactly. Then establishing those clear data privacy policies we talked about, guidelines on data handling, access control, getting consent, that's non-negotiable according to Enrolify and Aristech.
Foundational stuff. What about tackling the bias issue?
That requires a multi-pronged approach. Aristech, Teach Better AI, and AutoGPT suggest things like using diverse datasets for training, regularly auditing the algorithms for bias, and involving diverse groups of people, educators, students, parents, community members in the design and review process.
Get more eyes on it from different perspectives.
Yeah. And related to all this is the need for AI literacy, not just for teachers, but for students too.
Meaning everyone needs to understand AI better.
Basically, yes. Aristech mentions this, referencing UNESCO's competency frameworks. People need to understand how AI works, how to use it effectively, but also how to think critically about it, its limitations, its potential impacts.
That seems crucial for navigating a world increasingly shaped by AI.
It really does. And a big theme for the future is this idea of human-AI collaboration.
We touched on that AI supporting teachers, not replacing them.
Exactly. Teach Better AI and AutoGPT really emphasize this. The future isn't AI or humans, it's AI and humans working together. AI handles the repetitive tasks, the data crunching, freeing up educators to focus on mentoring, critical thinking, creativity, the uniquely human parts of teaching. Teach Better AI gives the example of AI checking grammar, while the teacher assesses the creativity and argumentation in an essay.
That partnership model makes a lot of sense. What other future trends are highlighted?
Well, adaptive learning is going to keep evolving. AI getting even better at creating those truly personalized learning journeys, adapting moment by moment. Hurix Digital and AutoGPT see this as central.
More sophisticated personalization.
Right. And we'll likely see more immersive tech like VR and AR in the classroom, often enhanced by AI. Hurix, Teach Better AI, Virtue IT Solutions all mention this, creating really engaging hands-on simulations and experiences.
Virtual field trips, complex science labs.
Things like that, yeah. Also, microlearning short, focused learning modules might become more common, with AI helping to personalize and deliver those bite-sized chunks effectively, according to Heurich.
Learning in shorter bursts. Fix modern attention spans, maybe.
Perhaps. And then the thinking bigger picture. AutoGPT and Teach Better AI talk about the potential for global virtual classrooms. AI could help bridge language barriers, connect students across cultures.
Wow, truly global learning.
Yeah. And AutoGPT also mentions AI possibly providing more personalized career guidance based on a student's skills and interests, and even supporting lifelong learning beyond school through AI-driven platforms for continuous skill development.
So the impact could extend well beyond the traditional K-12 or university years.
Absolutely. It points towards a future where learning is more continuous, more personalized, and more integrated with technology throughout life.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. It really does feel like a significant transformation is underway, or at least possible.
Yeah.
So if we were to boil down this whole deep dive,
Yeah.
what are the main takeaways?
I think, in a nutshell, AI offers really exciting potential in education. It could make learning much more personalized, more accessible for many, and potentially more efficient. There are real tangible benefits being explored.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a significant but. We absolutely have to grapple with the challenges: the cost, the need for human connection, the potential for bias, data privacy concerns, the digital divide. These are serious issues that need careful ethical consideration.
So it's not a magic bullet, it's a powerful tool, but one that needs to be wielded thoughtfully.
Exactly. It really comes down to finding that balance. How do we leverage the power of this technology while preserving and maybe even enhancing the essential human elements of education? The connection, the empathy, the critical thinking support.
That balancing act seems like the core challenge and opportunity moving forward.
I think so. It's about smart integration, not just wholesale adoption, focusing on how AI can genuinely support learners and educators towards better outcomes for everyone.
This has been a really fascinating look into AI in education, drawing on all those different perspectives you shared. It certainly leaves you with a lot to chew on.
It's a complex and rapidly evolving field, for sure.
Absolutely. And on that note, here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener. As AI becomes more woven into the fabric of education, think about how it might change not just how we learn, but also what it means to be a student and what it means to be an educator. How do we strike that crucial balance using AI's strengths without losing the irreplaceable human core of what makes education truly meaningful and transformative? Something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.